Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be doing a general election prediction between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. It is currently April 20th, 2024. It's about 6.5 months away from the 2024 United States presidential election, general election. I hope that you guys know that my last video that I made on April 1st of 2024, 20 days ago to the day, was an April Fool's video. Obviously, I don't see RFK winning any states in this election. I don't see Donald Trump winning Illinois or any of the other kind of ridiculous characterizations I made. Hopefully, you're able to tell it was an April Fool's prediction. If you were not and you're watching this video, it was. Please don't take that prediction seriously. This is the actual prediction between Joe Biden and Donald Trump for 2024. With that being said, um, let's just get right into our safe Biden states. Safe Biden states. We're going to look at the West Coast. Now, a lot of people are saying states like Oregon, states like even New York are now like competitive or some reason. It's not really the case. I mean, New York, for the sake of the argument, I'll put it in the likely category simply because the recent polling in New York has shown that Biden only leads by about 10 to 15 points. Um, and additionally, states like New Jersey could fall into that likely category. Still not competitive, but narrowing up in the sense that doesn't have as big of a hold on them as he previously has. You could argue that, and I will, for the sake of the video and for the sake of the fact that I think that those margins will narrow up below 15 points, move that to the likely category. Anyway, safe Republican states. I'll leave the state of Alaska for that sake out of it because I don't believe that Alaska will go to Trump by over 15% at this point in time. And back in 2020, he only won by 10%. He almost won by single digits. So you could see a state like Alaska end up going by that likely margin. Sorry, I forgot about South Dakota. Anyway, that puts Donald Trump at 122 electoral votes. You know what? For the sake of the video, then I'll put the state of Oregon as well as a likely Democrat state, just because you're looking at margins below 15%. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, 181 in the likely category, as well as the state of Colorado. Colorado will be a likely Biden state, as well as the state of New Mexico. Will go to Joe Biden by a likely margin. That's going to be it for the likely Biden states, getting him to 196 electoral votes. Likely Trump states. This will be Iowa. This will be Ohio. This will now be Alaska. I guess you could say Montana as well. This will be the state of Texas with its 40 electoral votes. Previously, that was a safe Democrat state, a safe Republican state. Slightly narrowing up. It's going to be more competitive on the Senate platform, but on the presidential level, what we're seeing right now is that polls indicate Trump is going to win it by about double digits, a bigger margin than he did in 2020, and possibly even bigger than from 2016, depending on the size of his victory or if he ends up winning the election. Um, and then finally, the state of Florida, actually, this was Maine's second congressional district. The state of Florida has been trending very, very substantially in favor of the Republican Party over the last few election cycles. I mean, back in 2016, Donald Trump only won the state of Florida by 1%. Fast forward to 2018, Ron DeSantis only wins the governorship. And keep in mind, this is a blue wave year, and they're still electing Republican governor and Republican senator and Rick Scott. Ron DeSantis wins the governorship by, I believe, less than 0.5%. Then we go to 2020. Donald Trump wins Florida by 3.3%. Miami-Dade County shifts substantially, still goes to Biden, but shifts substantially in favor of Trump. That's because of a lot of Puerto Rican, Cuban voters, Venezuelan voters, immigrants in the state of Florida shifting and voting Republican, especially Donald Trump, because of the fact that Donald Trump has labeled himself as the anti-socialist, anti-communist candidate. Fast forward to 2022, Ron DeSantis wins the governorship in the state of Florida by 20 points, 19 and a half points. Solidifying Florida as more of a Republican state. And then Maine's second congressional district, the most recent pull out of that district, you could even argue that'd be safe. Most recent pull out of that district has Donald Trump leading by 20 points, and he has in the previous elections beat both Joe Biden and Hillary Clinton by over 5 percentage points. This election, it won't be any different. Lean Biden states. The state of Virginia is going to be the only state to lean in. Actually, I'm sorry, the state of New Hampshire as well will lean in favor of Joe Biden, and the state of Maine at large will lean in favor of Joe Biden, getting him to 216 electoral votes. 215. I'm also going to include Nebraska second. I forgot about a lot of states. State of Virginia will narrow up a little bit. I mean, it's going to go below 5% points. I think at this point, a lot of the polls indicate that it's under 5%. Glenn Youngkin had a big victory there in 2021. He has kept his promise of saying that he'll endorse a Republican nominee. He has endorsed Donald Trump for president in 2024. And I do believe the state of Virginia will narrow up a little bit. It still will be a Democrat state. They still have 2 Democrat senators. They vote Democrat nationally more often. But I do think Donald Trump could end up reducing Biden's victory by under 5%. New Hampshire, you could argue that would be likely, but I'll put it at lean for now as well. Maine at large, I mean, most recent poll from Pan Atlantic has Trump up 6. We don't have enough data from there at the moment for me to even make a characterization in my mind that Trump will win that state. I'll put it at lean Biden for the moment. Um, and then Nebraska second. It will be a lean Biden state unless if their state assembly manages to um, get rid of the district system in the state of Nebraska. And if they do that, you'll probably the state of Maine very likely could follow suit as well. Anyway, Biden at 216 electoral votes going into our lean Trump states. There's going to be a lot of them. State of North Carolina is going to lean in favor of Donald Trump. Most recent polling has Trump up 6 in the state of North Carolina. Will he win by 6? Probably not, but he will win by bigger margins than he did in 2020 at this point in time. 2020, he only won by about a point. 2024, I see him winning by about 3 to 4 points, similar margins in 2016, as well as the state of Georgia. He'll win by about 3 to 4. Heading over to the Southwest, Arizona, I do think that Donald Trump is going to pick up the state of Arizona as well. Many people think that because of the state Supreme Court decision with keeping that 1860 something law in place, or whatever the hell the law was from, um, against abortions, that's going to drive a lot of turnout for Joe Biden. Possibly, but the thing is that the people in the state of Arizona actually support Donald Trump's official position that he released on his website. Whether or not you want to say that that is his official position, or he's just saying that because of he's trying to win an election, majority of the people in Arizona agree with Donald Trump on his position on abortion compared to President Biden. Another lean state is going to be the state of Nevada, which we've seen significant shifts in. That has a Republican governor in Joe Lombardo. Um, Almost a Republican senator. Unfortunate for the Republican Party. They didn't end up picking that seat up. 2022 was an unfortunate year for the Republican Party in general, and I don't know, and I don't believe that that's going to happen again in 2024, but we will see what happens, given that they have that Republican governor and given that recent polling trends have shown that the state of Nevada has shifted significantly compared to the polls in 2020 and in 2016 in favor of the Republicans, in favor of Donald Trump. I do see it leaning in favor of Donald Trump in 2024. And then the final state to lean in favor of Donald Trump is the state of Wisconsin. Right now in the RCP polling average, Donald Trump leads in the state of Wisconsin by 1 point. Previously, polls in the state of Wisconsin have underestimated Donald Trump by about 6 percentage points, 6 to 7 percentage points from the polls. Now, if that is even remotely accurate, Donald Trump would win Wisconsin by a likely margin in 2024. I don't think he's going to win by a likely margin, but I do see Donald Trump winning by a lean margin. The state of Wisconsin, out of the 4 states in the Rust Belt that you see there, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, that quote unquote blue wall all the way back from 2016 that Donald Trump shattered to win the presidency, the state of Wisconsin has consistently been the most Republican state out of the 4 of them. Donald Trump won it by 0.7% in 2020, excuse me, in 2016. He won Pennsylvania by about 0.7 in 2016, Michigan by 0.3. Fast forward to 2020, Joe Biden wins the state of Michigan by 2.5. Joe Biden wins the state of Pennsylvania by 1.2%, and Joe Biden only wins the state of Wisconsin by 0.6%. So he won that by the smallest margin, meaning that will be the most Republican. Now, if we see a shift, which I do think we're going to see Donald Trump gain a lot of momentum going into 2024, simply because a lack of enthusiasm for Joe Biden, especially among the Muslim community in the Rust Belt, especially because Joe Biden's approval rating is in the gutter. A lot of people disapprove of the job of Joe Biden. I just don't think that he can manage to win that state at this point in time, and that it will go to Donald Trump, not by a point, probably by 2 to 3 points at the end of the day. Anyway, we head into the final 3 characterizations. The state of Minnesota, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. I think you know where I'm going to go with this. The state of Minnesota is still going to tilt in favor. By the way, Donald Trump would win the presidency simply based off of the states that he's won so far. The state of Minnesota would simply tilt in favor of Joe Biden because of the fact that he has lost so much support in the Muslim community. You looked at how many Muslims voted uncommitted in the state primary against Joe Biden, um, simply saying they could not vote for Joe Biden because of his stance on Israel at the moment. Because of that, because of the unpopularity in the Muslim community, you will see a state like Minnesota possibly, um, the margin possibly go less than 1%. At this point, I do think that that's going to happen unless if Joe Biden somehow either changes his stance or the problem in Israel and Gaza is resolved. That's going to be a tilt Biden state. And then the remaining states, Michigan and Pennsylvania, will tilt in favor of Donald Trump, go to Donald Trump by give or take a point. Getting him to 312 electoral votes. This means that he'll win the presidency again. First ever man to do so, second ever man to do so since Grover Cleveland, win a non consecutive presidential term. Um, and this time around, this will be the largest amount of electoral votes he's ever received from the Electoral College. 312 back in 2016, only got 306 electoral votes. This time, 312. So a resounding win for President Trump in the Electoral College election. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on my election prediction. What would you keep the same? What would you change? What are your thoughts on the margins as well? Anyway, with that being said, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and have a great day.